But at the 482, there's some folks there with the last name of McCall. One of the guy's sons is an engineer on the on the A95 Vulcan train that I run and chase back and forth to Cantrell like a wild Indian. Garen Carlin Rails Division, Norfolk Southern Memphis West District. Oh me, this weather in the south is something else. We like to froze to death here a few weeks ago. Then we warmed up, got like right at 80 degrees for better than a week. Then we thought we was gonna get blown away here last night. And then this morning, it's snowing. It's been snowing all day pretty much today, and the temperature is about 25 degrees colder than it was last night. The temperature dropped about 25 degrees last night, like in an hour's time. But you don't like the weather here in the south, just give it a couple of days or a few hours. That is, it'll change. Whether you're new at the game or experienced. I was just gonna kind of go over what I do when it comes to finding a train. You may be a new person. You might have just gotten into filming, to say. You might be getting interested in maybe doing, you know, some railroad episodes over time. I'm gonna kind of start out here talking about, to say, if you're new at it. Okay, first thing I can tell you right off the bat, if you're gonna be serious about it, about chasing trains, you just about gotta have a radio. A radio is just about a must. You need to get you a radio and learn how to use it and have the right frequencies for a fact, for sure, that you need in it. But if you're just starting out, one of the first recommendations probably that I can give you is you need to learn your milepost. Learn your milepost out there on the line, and learn which way the milepost is getting larger or smaller, which direction or whatever, north, south, east, or west. Because that's going to be one of the first things you're going to want to pretty much memorize, if you possibly can, which way the milepost numbers are going, and you need to memorize exactly where each one of those mileposts are. Does that location where that milepost is at, is that milepost at a crossing? Is it at a community? Is it near a creek? Does the railroad have a name for that spot? A lot of times, the guys on the trains, they will clear a certain area, like they may call off, they may clear it, by using the name of a town right where they're coming through. They may be coming through a certain area, and they may have a nickname, for that spot. They They may just simply call off a milepost. Probably the number one way I would say that you're going to find a train is to first, like I said, monitor or learn your milepost and start monitoring your railroad traffic on the radio. And probably one of the first things you're going to want to listen for, you're most likely going to want to hear a train clear a milepost. And if you learn those mileposts and memorize where they are, you're going to be able to say, okay, he is 5 or 6 miles this way, west, or he's 5 or 6 miles east. They may clear an actual community or some area by some other name, you know, like even some kind of a nickname to put it, or whatever it might be. It's like starting on the Memphis West line back west to me. When the trains gets, as I'll use in the episode here, when they're coming into my area, coming from the west, coming east, there's a spot that they'll clear, I think is as Porter's Creek, and then just east of that you've got Middleton, Tennessee. That's going to be the milepost 482. But come on back further east, you got the town of Pocahontas. Right around Pocahontas and Cold Sheet Road is going to be milepost 477. And the milepost gets smaller as you come east. You'll come to a spot where they clear is Big Hill. There's a spot there called Big Hill Cut, but the guys on the train will clear it as Big Hill. That's going to be close to the milepost 473. And you come further on east, there's a town called Shawally. They'll usually clear both like the west end and the east end of Shawally there to milepost 468, and backing up there to the milepost 470, they'll usually clear milepost 470 over the radio. You get up to the milepost 464. I believe there's some kind of a defect detector or something there at the 464. That's going to be at the town of Winnesoga, Mississippi. Jumping back to Pocahontas to the milepost 477, I think there's a defect detector there as well. And that's something else you want to listen for on the radios, is you want to listen for any of those defect detectors to go off on the radio, and learn ahead of time and figure out where those defect detectors are located. Because many times that defect detector will call off a milepost, and you're going to know as soon as that train goes by it. As soon as that train goes by it, that defect detector usually is going to go off on the radio. But that's one thing that I could recommend to you to say if you're new, as far as how to start out, to put it, to find a train. Now, after spending a lot of time in it like I have so far, you know, going out and finding a train is a very extremely easy game for me. I mean, it's not long when I get out. The way I like to phrase it, jumping me a rabbit, I jump me a rabbit and I get some action going pretty quick. Because, you know, I know where the mileposts are, and somebody can clear a milepost, or they can clear whatever location by a certain name or whatever, and just like that. I mean, there they are. Moving on from the milepost 464, heading on east, you got a spot right there I believe they clear as Blue Cut. There's like a big humongous some kind of like a cattle farm or something there, and some big grain silos or something, and some people's got some big farm equipment and stuff around. Track like comes across a big high levee there, coming on east, and they clear that. I believe it's as Blue Cut. And of course, just a little short piece right there just east of that, you're going to come into the historic town of Corinth, Mississippi. Usually what I do when I get out, I usually start listening for the dispatcher to give somebody track authority, or listening for somebody to call off a milepost or clear a certain community or a town or something like that. It gives me an idea of where they are. Now, just based on experience from over time, I know just in general how a lot of the train traffic runs. A lot of the different trains, they're going to run many times kind of close to the same schedule as far as the time of day. And then you're going to have certain times that, you know, train traffic is going to kind of die off, and there's going to be like a little bit of a lull, you know, for a while, 3 or 4 hours, and then traffic, you know, will pick back up. Jumping back to the time when I wanted to get set up for the first time with the very first radio. I know some folks, actually they live right near the milepost 482. I grew up at the 473, but at the 482, there's some folks there with the last name of McAlpin. And there's a couple of them there. And matter of fact, one of the guy's sons is the engineer on the on the A95 Vulcan train that I run and chase back and forth to Cantrell like a wild Indian. I got in touch with him because he was retired off the line. He was a freight agent, a lot of different locations up and down the Memphis West line. I asked him, did he know how I could get set up with a radio? I think he talked to his son, the one that's running the Vulcan train, and I got a hold of a couple of frequencies. And I got a couple of other frequencies as well. You can go on, I believe it's radioreference.com, and you can look up different frequencies for, you know, whatever you want. But sometimes it works better when you can actually talk to someone, as far as getting maybe, you know, another frequency or a couple of more frequencies that you really and truly need that you might not be able to find online. So that's what I done. I got in touch with him and got some pointers and a couple of frequencies. What exactly that I do when it comes to running the radios? I think I've got about 9 or 10 radios now, and I keep about 3 or 4 in the vehicle. I run two different frequencies on one radio, and the biggest part of the time I've got a second radio running in the vehicle that's running on 2 more frequencies. The NS Memphis West, they've got a road channel, or what they call a road frequency. Now I'm going to run it, period. I mean, regardless of where I'm at or else. One of my radios is monitoring that road frequency, or that road channel, period. Now there's another frequency that I run, and sometimes it will catch somebody clearing on a train over the road frequency. Sometimes the other frequency that I run other than the road will catch the dispatcher sometime. If the dispatcher maybe is, you know, giving out a track authority, or, you know, whatever it might be. Now there, on the other radio, I'm running my county 911 dispatch, and I keep that running in case, I don't know, maybe somebody that I know, or some family or somebody wants to call 911, you know, I'll hear the dispatch call from 911. And the frequency that I'll be running with that is, there's like a, I don't know exactly what they call it, kind of like a truck to truck or something like that. It's a frequency that I got from a NS guy, actually out along the line, when I run up on them when they were working one time. And he said it was a frequency they used for just like more local, when they was working on the track or something like that. But that's usually what I do. I'm usually running 2 radios. One radio is monitoring county fire and 911 dispatch, and it's running that what I'm going to call right at the moment this truck to truck out on the line frequency for the railroad. And then my main radio, which most likely is going to be this one. This one is going to be covering the NS road channel frequency, and it's going to be monitoring the other frequency that I mentioned that will sometimes catch a train or the dispatcher before the road frequency does. Now the road frequency, it's going to catch the biggest part of the stuff out along the line. You'll want to run the road frequency, period, like I say, regardless of where you're at or what you're doing. The overall advice that I can give you, jumping back to, especially like I mentioned a few minutes ago, if you're new and starting out at this, on whatever line that you're on, you need to memorize your milepost and know which direction the mileposts are getting larger. And you need to know names or whatever different stuff like that of what the guys on the trains are calling that area. So, you know, just say, for example, I'm sitting at the milepost 464. All right, if I'm sitting there and somebody was to clear the Blue Cut, they clear Blue Cut, okay? All right, well, they're only like 2 mileposts east of me, and that means they're going to be coming past me just in a minute or 2 there. You'll hear them, you know, blowing just any time, to say. But you need to memorize all of this stuff, because once you get this stuff down pat, knowing where your milepost is, knowing different names, different towns, different nicknames, different areas that they clear and all that, you know, every time that you hear something on the radio, you'll be thinking, whoop, uh-oh, there they are. I know right where they're at, you know, and which direction they're going. You know, it'll come to you just like that. But that's what I can tell you far as about finding a train. But yes, of course, if you're going to be serious about it, a radio is a must have, you know. That's all it is to it, you know. Got to have one. But you get all this memorized, get it down pat, you'll be surprised how natural it'll come. It'll be just like that. Like now, this day and time, I don't even hardly think about it. I mean, just, you know, I sit around, even at home a lot, you know. I sit around at night, late at night, still monitor train traffic, you know, and luckily I can still monitor train traffic, you know, sitting at home. I mean, I'm only, you know, 10 minutes from the line, so, and it's like today, I heard the boys on the Vulcan train when they left Cantrell going back west. I heard them clear the east and the west end of Shwali at the milepost 468 and along down by the milepost 470 when they was going back west, and I wasn't even there. And I thought, uh-oh, there they go, there they are. But you'd be surprised, and it'll make it just that much more fun once you get all this down and get it memorized right here. So I hope you find this useful, and believe me, I am certainly trying to be helpful to you out there in the field. So until next time, I'm Garen Carlin, Rails Division, Norfolk Southern, Memphis West District, and I'll see you.